Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader at the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is May 6th. And the reading that showed up this morning comes from Entering the Castle, and that is by Carolyn Mice. And I opened it up to page 160, and my eyes landed on soul work. And here's what it offers us. In this room, pray and be present with the divine. With your soul, contemplate what it means to surrender your fears to God and put your life in divine hands. Why would you fear that? Write extensively about your fears, about surrender in Write extensively about your fears about surrender in your journal. Let go of the superstition that because you do not surrender, you can prevent the divine from creating chaos in your life. Feel the awe that illuminates you wherever fear once lived. What stands out most to me in that passage is this line: let go of the superstition that because you do not surrender, you can prevent the divine from creating chaos in your life. That I hear that as being predicated on creation intentionally creates chaos in my life. Um, it I hear that as a one-off, as duality, as a God outside of us that tests us, that creates problems for us to teach us something. Um, and there was a time that I believed that because I was taught to believe that, but I don't believe that today. Um, what I understand today through exploring other belief systems and testing it for myself is that the individualized center of creation, I am the one that creates the chaos in my life. Um, and I want to be really careful how I word this because, in the reality of one, right, we're all sharing the same consciousness. And so we're all sharing the same experience, even though we have complete agency to experience the same situations differently. And I think that is confusing for us sometimes. I know it was for me for a long time. Because as long as I stay in that belief in duality, there's actually a place in my thinking where I can avoid being responsible for anything that happens that I don't like. Um, and I just don't think that's the way it works. Um, I think what we fear in terms of our thought stuff is stuff that doesn't line up with spiritual truth. And that sense of fear is actually coming from a message inside of us that is nudging us to align with spiritual truth. Now, that's separate than the biological fear. Every every organism that has the ability to scurry away from physical danger does so, and so that is the legitimate fear. That is holy fear, if you will. It is natural fear. that makes sense. It's the thought fear that we want to address, that we want to journal about, that we want to really get a handle on, um, to understand that spiritually there's nothing for us to fear. In this human realm, yeah, I don't want to step out in front of moving traffic because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Um, but I no longer live in fear of what a God outside of me is going to do to me or for me, or not going to do for me. Um, because I recognize that how I show up and what I tell myself and how I respond to how life is unfolding really changes everything. Doesn't change the weather, doesn't change how other people behave, but it certainly changes my experience of all of that. And when my experience changes, how I respond changes. And when how I respond changes, how the circumstances impact my life changes. And the exciting part to me, the part where awe and wonder come in, is when I begin to really glimpse an understanding that what heals in one place heals every place. And so if I can do the work to heal what is out of alignment in my own thoughts, that helps heal that same misalignment in the whole of creation. And that's pretty exciting. It, it eliminates that sense of hopelessness. I'm no longer bound by external appearances. And for me, that's where faith really kicks in. The substance of things not seen. The substance of things not seen is creation itself, God itself, consciousness itself, whatever word works for you, energy, life. And so leaning into that is amazing. Um, and it's a sense of freedom that I have not found anywhere else. And it does require some work and some diligence and some consistency and some discipline and a whole lot of faith. So I'm wondering if you have anything that you would like to share about the reading this morning. Okay, I'm not seeing any notes pop up in the chat. So I'm going to read this one more time and take us into our 5 minute meditation. It is a meditation practice. I invite you to just be present with whatever happens in that 5 minutes. If a dog barks, it's part of the meditation. If a siren goes by, part of the meditation. Whatever happens, just allow it to be. Whatever thoughts you have, those are part of the meditation. No need to push them away and no need to work at thinking any specific thing. Okay, here it is again. Soul work. In this room, pray and be present with the divine, with your soul. Contemplate what it means to surrender your fears to God and put your life in divine hands. Why would you fear that? Write extensively about your fears about surrender in your journal. Let go of the superstition that because you do not surrender, you can prevent the divine from creating chaos in your life. Feel the awe that illuminates you where fear once lived. So let's take that into our time of meditation. one love, one life, one peace, one power, one presence, one intelligence, one energy, one source, one substance, one. One creation, one diversity, one. One something that is everything, that is unnameable, yet known by many names. Limitless, infinite possibility, expressing, individualized. No two expressions of this one alike, by design, by intention, expanding the expression and experience of this one continuously, fully infusing every expression of itself with the power of itself to express, to live in alignment with itself, to live the harmonious operation of one. I am that in form. My life is this one life. What I call my mind is the mind of the infinite. What I call my soul is the activity of the infinite expressing itself. What I call my ego is the human expression of divinity, exquisitely individualized, one of a kind, on purpose, never to be repeated. Expression as me. And what is true of me is true of all creation. Every expression of this one made out of it must contain it. With the authority to use it. All life is creative. Every expression of this one is this one power and presence, is pure intelligence expressing, is pure love expressing, is infinite possibility individualized. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we are awakening to that. That we as humanity are awakening to our individualized magnificence, to the power that lies within us to live in harmony, to express in harmony, to truly live fearlessly, authentically, free of any guilt, shame, or blame. With absolute awareness that moves us back into alignment with the self, the spiritual self. I claim and affirm that the idea of separation is being neutralized, and in its place being made real, the truth of one life, the truth that all is inseparably unified as one, that individualization never creates separation. That differences never create separation. That oneness, that unified body of one, never requires sameness. I claim and affirm that in the glory of creation, the idea of fear, the idea of a deity, a power outside of the individualized self that causes harm, is being neutralized, and the truth of one love is replacing that. And that as that awakening expands, the expression of love expands until that is all that is experienced. The understanding and experience of unity is expressed until that is all that is experienced. I claim and affirm that humanity is awakening to its magnificence, into the magnificence of all that it is surrounded by, to all that it is infused with, to the inextricable partnership that is innate and inevitable in every aspect and expression of creation. And I am grateful. I'm grateful that the activity of creation that unfolds life perfectly, that responds to the desire of life to express, hears, receives, and responds to every desire that is imagined, to every desire that is spoken, to every desire that is held in belief, to make it so. And so I know that what has been spoken this morning has already been received, already been responded to, already made real in the activity of life. And so I let go of any human thoughts that would cause an experience of doubt. I let go. I let go of any pressure to make something happen and stand firmly in the faith that it's already done. And I move through this day in awareness of what is mine to do, and joyously, confidently do what is revealed to me to do, to be, to say. And I celebrate. So in this celebration, in this faith, I let go, I release. And I go about the business of being. The prayer revealed. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.